Oh boy, do I have an excellent video for you today. Do you guys remember a few months ago when this guy, Zane Whitener, released a video called Bad Conservative Horror Movies, where deep within a 3.5-hour rant, he randomly starts accusing Wendigoon and other YouTubers of being fascists and racists? I'm sure a lot of you do remember, and that is because that is the video where a lot of my audience originated. That being said, it has been brought to my attention that Zane has finally released a response video. What's funny about this response video is that it was not uploaded on the main In Praise of Shadows channel. Instead, it was uploaded on a secondary channel under the title Clearing the Air. So, does he clear the air? Does he actually apologize for his shitty behavior? Does he apologize to the people he tried to slander? Does he admit that what he did was wrong? Well, judging by the like to dislike ratio, I wouldn't bet on it. But we're gonna take a look anyways.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't really know how to start this, so I guess I'm just gonna start talking, I guess. It's been a while. Hope you've been okay.
Okay, dude, what is this drip? Can we get a fit check on bro here? He's dressed like he shouldn't be within 500 yards of a school. I mean, seriously, if you had him in a lineup with P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein, and I had to guess which two were the traffickers, I'd pick Zane Whitener twice. So Zane is gonna try and create some positive social credit in the beginning of this video by appearing as some wholesome, sweet, innocent little guy. And he's gonna do that because he's gonna talk about the fact that he didn't write a script for this video. Now, something tells me that that is going to be a massive miscalculation, because he got in a major controversy over something he said that he actually took time on and scripted out, meaning that he had many chances to change what he wrote down before he published the Bad Conservative Horror Movies video. But I'm sure, yeah, letting him spurg on camera for the next 18 minutes, going off the top of the dome, is really gonna reverse public opinion.
I didn't want to really use a script for this video because anything that I say will be talked negatively about. And if I'd used a written response, I felt like people would be like, oh, he's just, doing this for PR. I didn't want it to feel like a statement that a politician would put out. I just wanted to be me talking to you, human to human. So apologies if this is a bit rambly. This is a little different for me. I'm just gonna talk. And I guess I'll start with kind of a big piece of criticism was that I just sort of disappeared.
No. Given how many people were still calling on you to delete your channel after the numerous failed attempts at damage control, either through Twitter or through the community notes page on YouTube, I don't think anyone was upset that you disappeared. In fact, I think most people still believe that you should have never even returned. Yet here you are.
And I did that kind of for two reasons. One was that, of course, anything that I said wasn't going to help the situation that was happening. And so I just left. And I didn't want to really talk about it, and this is the last time I'm ever going to publicly talk about the situation again. I just also felt that people would be kind of annoyed if I tried to come back and start making things again and just pretend like nothing ever happened. I didn't want to do that. Also, I don't really know how to make this video because the history of YouTube apology videos is a format that is consistently made fun of for good reason. And I'm not anti-apology at all. I'm not. It's just that usually someone who works on the internet will mess up and then immediately will put out an apology video and be I'm not that person anymore. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've changed, guys. And it's complete bullshit. Everybody knows that it's bullshit because you're what do you mean you're not that person anymore? You just said that thing 2 days ago. Of course you're that person.
Good God, man, you should have scripted out this video. He is so terrible at stringing sentences together unscripted that his brain freezes every 5 seconds and he has to use filler words such as like or before continuing. Seriously, go back and listen to the amount of times he's already said the word like. It's unbelievable. But now that I pointed it out, listening to the remainder of this video is probably going to be pretty difficult. Anyway, to actually address what he said, I have the unpopular opinion of agreeing with him to some degree. I'm not the biggest fan of apology videos, and that is for the reason that, and I don't remember where I heard this, if someone else knows where I heard this, drop it in the comments down below, but I've heard it said that the internet is not just bipolar, but it's borderline. Allow me to explain. Also, I am not a licensed therapist, so do not take everything I say as gospel. This is just simply the way it's been explained to me. But borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder that affects the relationships of everyone they are in relation with. Could be a family member, a friend, or a romantic partner, it really doesn't matter. Also, it's not just about the mood swings, though people with BPD do experience that as well. It's also about the way they think about you. The difference between BPD and bipolar is that bipolar is more about the mood, the way they feel about you. And so if it was all about that, I would say this phenomenon on the internet has more in common with bipolar. But it really is about the way they think about you as well, because now everything you do is met with suspicion, no matter what you do. So it could be at the beginning, they adore you, they love you, they admire you. Nothing you could do is wrong ever. But in a moment's notice, out of nowhere, they hate you, they loathe you, they despise you, and they have intense anxiety towards you. Everything you do is now met with suspicion. Oftentimes, it really has nothing to do with anything that you have done. It could be that your personality hasn't changed, your jokes haven't changed, your opinions haven't changed. It could just be because of a new spontaneous cultural insensitivity, or it could be because of a baseless allegation that causes everyone to grab their pitchforks and demand your head on a pike. Therefore, I typically think it is best to only reserve apologies for a one-on-one basis. That's the only way it can actually be an authentic apology. If you're apologizing to a crowd, oftentimes your apology falls on deaf ears. People that are choosing to hate you will continue to hate you no matter what you do. They will not take your apology as authentic enough. But in this situation, that is completely not the point. Zane has the entire internet against him because he made baseless accusations against some very respected creators and then refused to take responsibility when being called out for it. He refused to apologize for the people he lied about, and he continued to double down over and over again without taking any responsibility for any wrongdoing. Much like what he's doing right now.
And so, like, with my situation, I said I was going to be gone for a month. Clearly, I needed a break. I wasn't doing very well. And I ended up taking more than that because I wasn't ready to come back. And I really wanted to come back with something that showed what I could do. That showed that I would be willing to listen to criticism of me, because I always am. I always want to do better. And so I hope that the John Waters video has kind of shown that. This was kind of a wake-up call moment for me. So, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And I guess one of the main things I wanted to talk about here is that, like, when you do anything in a very public way that it isn't received particularly well, people are going to do two things, which is, like, ascribe a motive for why you did that thing, and also wildly speculate about yourself to put attributes onto you, that often aren't true. And, I definitely am guilty of doing that in the past, even in the bad conservative horror movie video.
Yeah, you think? You insinuated that certain YouTubers that like guns or support the police are far right or fascists, and then went on to say that right-wing people shouldn't be allowed in horror spaces or in public in general. But I'm sure you're going to clarify all of that in this video, right, Zane?
So I kind of wanted to talk more about me here than other people, which is something I don't really do all that much. One of the biggest things that has kind of always surprised me my whole career on YouTube is people thinking that I hate Christians. And I don't at all. I don't hate religious people at all. I myself am a Methodist. And I have gone to annual conference with the Methodists for the past, I think, 4 years because I have an invested interest in how the church is dealing with LGBT members, which is an ongoing thing with the Methodists. I don't hate Christians at all. I can be very critical of Christians. I don't like evangelicals. I don't like proselytizers.
So 1 second you say you don't hate Christians, but in the very next sentence you say you hate evangelicals and proselytizers. So you don't hate Christians, you just generally dislike the Christians that disagree with you, which is most of them. And 1 in 4 Christians in the United States are evangelicals. And proselytizers are just Christians that believe their salvation comes from converting others to Christianity. Kind of a cult mindset. I mean, I understand. I don't really like it when people are overbearingly trying to force my religion onto me either. But at the same time, to say that I don't hate Christians, but then say they hate the largest group of Christians in the entire country is a little tone deaf to me. I'm not going to lie.
And usually if I'm being critical of religious people, it's because they're using the religion as part of their online brand. And if you're like mixing money or your business with your religion, that is almost certainly like a perversion of whatever your religion is teaching. And, you know, I don't want to get into anything. I'm not trying to like double down here with what I'm saying in this. I'm not trying to like critique people. I'm just trying to talk about where I come from with things. Because I'm realizing like a big issue with my writing is saying something and just assuming that people understand what I mean, instead of actually trying to explain my point more, because I cover a lot of points in videos, and sometimes I'm guilty of hitting a point really quick and then moving on.
So, kind of like what you've been doing with this video thus far? I mean, seriously, has he explained anything in depth up to this point? 1 second ago, he was saying how he dislikes evangelicals, and now he's talking about Christians that make money online as if those have anything to do with one another?
Especially because I kind of am also guilty of making a lot of my work assuming wrongly that people are familiar with my past and my like work as well. I kind of make every video, or did make every video, as a sequel to all of my previous work. And that kind of came up twice with the Bad Conservative Horror Movie video. One was an offhanded mention to Lovecraft that I talked about, where people are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, and you know, like, because I had made like a 2-hour video about Lovecraft in the past, I felt like I could just make an offhanded, like, quick 1-sentence reference to Lovecraft and it not be a big deal, and not explain it. You know what I mean? Because I just assumed people will get what I'm talking about because of that video. And another big one that came with is when I talked about race in Appalachia. A lot of people weirdly thought that I was northern or not from Appalachia. People were saying like, you know, Appalachia sends its regards and shit like that. But like, you know, I've lived in the Appalachian Mountains basically my whole life. And I made like a 2+ hour video explaining my complicated views of the American South with the Joanne Denton video, where I talked about how like I love North Carolina and how I've lived here my entire life, and how much of an impact this place has had on me. But also to pretend that the South doesn't have a major problem with racism is like kind of insane, you know. And I talk in that video about like the heavy Klan presence in areas of North Carolina. I talk about casual social racism and stuff like that. So like I felt like I was okay to make a 1-sentence like throwaway thing because I'd already explained my position on that in the past. I don't hate Appalachians. I live here, and I have chosen to live here for a long time now. And you know, the reaction to that in particular, I think, was really strong.
Genuinely, in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you otherwise. I don't know, Zane, maybe that comment right there had something to do with the level of anger you received? Also, I really like how this is where he leaves off on this subject. He doesn't go any further into any detail. He doesn't say, oh, what I said was wrong or incorrect. I shouldn't generalize people like that. He also didn't give the specifics of what was said, which I just did. He then just tries to move on and say that, oh no, I love Appalachia because I haven't moved and I've lived here for a long time or something. He also doesn't explain what's made him stay in Appalachia for a long time. He just says because he's lived in Appalachia, therefore he doesn't hate the Appalachian people. It couldn't be the fact that he's broke and can't move. I'm sure it's just because he loves the area and the people so much. Let me insinuate that an entire group of people living in an area are guilty of a societal ill, and then when I get the rightful pushback, I will just chalk it up to miscommunication or something. This guy's a fucking genius.
And you know, there was also a lot of criticism saying that like I didn't handle the situation gracefully, which I didn't. But also I'd like to see anybody that would. You know, things got really intense there. My entire town a few weeks ago was basically destroyed from the hurricane. And like there were like tweets still 5 months later saying, well, at least In Praise of Shadows probably died in that. You know?
No way. There is no way he is using a hurricane right now as a deflection from taking responsibility for what he said. There is no way. Oh my God. Hey guys, I know I didn't handle the situation well, but you know, a couple months after I posted the video, a hurricane hit and you fucking cunt. You fucking cunt. That is insane. That is actually insane. You know, I understand what he's trying to say, but you don't think you could have held off just a little bit longer on mentioning a hurricane that took the lives of 230 people and caused $200 billion worth of damage? You don't think you could have held off on that? Maybe after apologizing to these people? Hey guys, I know I haven't apologized to these people yet, and I know I tried to slander them and ruin their lives forever, but hey, the people are now saying that I should have had my life claimed in the hurricane. Isn't that so fucked up? Dude, just log off the internet forever. Just go away. I just wish the hurricane would have claimed your house and every bit of electricity linking you to the internet. That's what I wish, but we'll continue.
Things were really, really hot and uncomfortable. You didn't see the best side of me in that. And that's all that I can say is, it was a bad day for me. It was a bad period for me. You know, I was kind of made into this like cartoon character where I am impossible to get along with people who are on the right, which is actually not true at all. I know this sounds like made up, but the guy that I hired to work on the set with me for the John Waters video was wearing a Make America Great Again hat like the entire time we were working. But he does a good job. And that's just the realities of living in the American South. I am not this insane person who, like, it's impossible to get along with.
Yes, I do find it hard to believe. He's right. And I find it hard to believe because in his Bad Conservative Horror Movies video, he called Jason Blum, Donald Trump, Ben Shapiro, Oompaville, Brendan Herrera, Brandon Buckingham, Shoe on Head, Wendigoon, and a bunch of other people fascists. And then went on to say that anyone who is right-wing doesn't belong in public.
Oh, he's just a YouTuber. Why does it matter? Or, so what if he's a conservative? Is that a problem? Which, the answer to that is yes. But the reason that I care is because this does not belong in horror. Or anywhere. I care deeply about horror, and everything that he does has demonstrated so far in his career that he should not be welcomed in our spaces. Or even, you know, just in public in general.
So yeah, just because he played nice with a guy in a MAGA hat who was helping him build his set for his video, I don't necessarily believe that he's not one of those crazy people. But I'll start to believe he's not one of those crazy people the moment he takes back his comment about Wendigoon being secretly a Boogaloo boy because he wore a Hawaiian shirt. So right about never.
So, yeah. And with the Appalachian thing came an added commentary that I was kind of surprised about, where a lot of people said that I hate poor people, or I look down on people, that I, like, hate lower-income individuals, which, like, I'm a lower-income individual in Appalachia. Like, I don't hate anybody like that. I don't hate anybody at all. I think that everybody should have their needs met no matter what they believe. You know, as far as like reviews are concerned, I am gay, and with that comes like a certain level of snobbery with like the arts and stuff like that. But because I like have high expectations of works of art does not mean that I hate poor people. Okay, I don't think that certain people should be in power. I don't think that certain people should have social power.
But that really isn't for you to decide, is it, Junior? You know, you can attack the opinions and ideas that one espouses if you disagree with them. And generally speaking, if your ideas are better than theirs, then people will flock to your side. But spurging out and declaring that because you disagree with someone, they don't deserve social power is the attitude of a tyrant. An attitude that you have demonstrated over and over again without remorse or without self-awareness. My God, you would think with the amount of times you have declared that other people are fascists, you would have had a second to look up what that word means. Anyways, in this next part of the video, he's going to be talking about Shoe on Head's video she did on the subject, which was called The War on Normal Men, or War on Normal Guys, or something like that. And in this next part, Zane is going to say that he is actually the normalest of normal guys. Take a look.
And in that, I kind of want to get into the conservative video itself. Okay, so in the like hating poor people thing, apparently I also don't like normal guys. And like the thing that's kind of funny about that is that like kind of this whole situation came about because I was a normal guy. So like I'm notoriously difficult to get a hold of. And that's because I'm not really online at all. I don't tweet. I genuinely don't spend much time on Twitter at all. I don't have any other social media. Before this, I was getting on Discord like once every like 6 months. For the most part, I'm not friends with other online content creators. I probably watch in between 3 and 5 YouTube videos a month. And that is not like a dig at other YouTubers. That's not saying that they don't make excellent work, because there's a lot of great work on YouTube. But like, it comes to like this thing where like, back when I used to make comics, I would draw comics all day. And the last thing I'd want to do when I finished drawing for 10 hours would be to like pick up comics and read them before I went to bed. You know, Like, I didn't want my entire existence to be comics. I wanted inspiration from everywhere in my life. And so I used to watch a lot of YouTube, like back before I was a YouTuber. But then I started making videos, and, you know, I make videos all day long, and I don't want to, like, turn around and then, like, watch more YouTube videos. So, like, when I say I don't watch, like, a lot of YouTube, it's not to put down other creators, but just to try and to explain how this situation happened, because the why is kind of, you know, self-apparent. And so when you're not an online person, but you feel compelled to write a piece about online culture, looking at it from a distance, trying to figure out what is real, it's a different kind of research. And I totally was not the guy to do that job. I felt like it was important. I felt like nobody else would do it. And I knew that the reaction was not going to be good. I knew it was going to be bad. So kind of most of my mistakes and problems came from that, though.
So he's not online very often, and therefore he is the most normal? Got it. So I would like for Zane to then explain to me what some normal guy things are other than just not being online. Because the entire point of Shoe on Head's video is that there is an attack on normal guys for doing normal guy things. Because if you think about it, that's exactly what Zane was doing. He was attacking a typical group of guys for hanging out, making edgy jokes, and shooting guns. Things that most men in America like to do. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the exit polls for the most recent American presidential election. I also like how he scapegoats being a normal guy as the reason why his video was so hated. Not because he's atrocious at research, it's because he's the most normal of normal guys. Right. Yeah, it couldn't be because you called Brandon Buckingham a fascist, grapist gun YouTuber. It only takes a second to realize he's not a gun YouTuber, and another couple of seconds to realize that the allegation against him was fake. It was made up by Sneeko, of all people. Also, what does he mean by the fact that he knew that this video was going to be received poorly? If you knew everyone was going to hate your video, why would you post it in the first place? I don't understand that idea. Well, you see, no one else was gonna slander these people, so someone had to. Dude, if your video is factual and hard-hitting, then everyone would have liked it. Think about how many people liked Dogpack404's first video that he did on Mr. Beast, the most prominent YouTuber on the platform. Everyone liked Dogpack's video until his evidence stopped holding up to scrutiny. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. Weird admission that he had no confidence in his video, but decided to post it anyways.
And like, you know, I fucked it. I fucked it pretty bad. And there's not really a lot else I can say about it. You know, what's done is done. I can't take it back. But also, ultimately, that's like what a whole section of YouTube is about. I may have done that really badly, but like, there are channels that just exist just to talk shit about people like all the time. And I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to escalate the situation. I'm just trying to describe my perspective of how this happened. Because at the end of the day, everything's fine. You know, I fucked up. But also, nobody that I mentioned in that video was harmed at all. You know, everybody's doing fine, and that's kind of like how that genre of YouTube works anyways. The whole drama machine ultimately just exists for money, and I shouldn't have been a part of that. I shouldn't have contributed to that. I felt like there were important points to make. I did not word them well. I had no fucking chill. I could have done pretty much everything in that better, but you live and learn. You know, I don't know what else to say, other than I will do better, and I kind of want to get into, like, personal criticisms against myself now.
Did this guy really just try justifying slandering people because he said that the slander didn't affect them? So, all that slander, all those fake allegations I made, who cares? They weren't affected anyways. Plus, isn't that how drama content works? Like, no, we actually in the commentary community like to pride ourselves on at least an ounce of integrity by doing the most basic of research first before dropping a 30-minute long hit piece on someone. But yeah, I'm sure because other people move on from drama in a week, I guess it really doesn't matter, right? No, sorry Zane, you can't just slander people even if it means that people are gonna forget in a week or because your shitty attempt at ruining someone's life didn't stick. But yeah. So anyways, in this next part of the video, Zane is going to make the clear case that he actually was not jealous of Wendigoon's success, and that isn't what led him to make the video in the first place. Let's hear him out.
Because I think that's a good segue. So, like, with that video, there was a lot of comparison to the Dan Olson video that came out soon after mine and the H. Bomber Guy plagiarism video. There was a lot of, like, comparing the three of us, and I think, like, the only commonality between those three videos is YouTubers talking about YouTubers, with two of them being good videos and one of them being, like, a really bad video. But people were ascribing, like, saying that I was jealous, and that's why I was making that video. And I just want to say, I am not a jealous man, and I never have been. I have never made a single video on YouTube to chase trends. I have never made a video because someone made a popular video like that. You know, that is not the kind of guy that I am, and I never will be. I've always made what I think is interesting, what I am compelled to do, what I think is right to do. You know, I can definitely work on my tone with critical pieces, but, like, I wasn't doing that video as a ripoff of somebody else's style. You know, for better or worse, that video was authentically me, and to prove that, you can go back and watch the video on Encyclopocalypse that I did the previous summer that has, like, the exact same tone and wording and style and presentation of that bad conservative horror movie video. You know, they're very, very similar. I feel like as far as critically, this was very me. If it came across as being a ripoff of somebody else, that was not the goal. You know, I feel like that came across to some people and not to some people, but that's all I have to say on that.
So this guy is either willfully ignorant or a total moron, and I will leave it up to you guys to make that conclusion. But essentially, the reason why people are saying Zane is jealous of Wendigoon has nothing to do with the type of content that Wendigoon makes. It is because Zane dropped a 30-minute long hit piece on Wendigoon stating that because Wendigoon was rich, young, and came from privilege, he was incapable of making an intelligent take on art and horror. And then while also complaining earlier in his video that because of the response to his Hills Have Eyes video, he became broke and lost a bunch of viewers.
But similarly to the Encyclopocalypse video, I wasn't trying to ruin anybody's life. I wasn't doing this because I wanted a lot of views. In fact, I did know that people were going to hate this. You can go back on my Twitter, and like weeks before I posted it, I said, my next project people are really going to hate. If I said that people are really going to hate this, then that doesn't line up with the narrative of me doing it because I wanted to be popular. You know, with the jealousy thing, like, it feels very strange to me because to my ears, it's like critiquing the president and saying something that you don't like that the president did. And then somebody saying, well, you're just saying that because you want to be president. And like, no. I assure you, I don't want to be the president. Critical pieces can exist on people without them, like, destroying people, and I actually say that in the Bad Conservative Horror Movie video. I said with the John Squire section of that video that I don't want to ruin people's lives because of things that they've said, that I think that we should be forgiving and open to people changing. And if it was just some, like, dumb thing said, like, as an 18-year-old, who gives a shit? Everybody said really dumb things when they were a kid, and that shouldn't be held against them. I just saw things that I disagreed with from people that I felt like had a big public platform. Being critical of that doesn't mean that you want their lives to be ruined. You know, I ultimately was making that as an invitation for wanting people to do better. And if the one person who comes out of Bad Conservative Horror Movie deciding to do better is me, then that's a good thing, you know?
Yeah, you're so full of shit. Just because you say now that you didn't intend on ruining anyone's life does not mean it's true. Instead, what we can do is look at the things that you said about Wendigoon. You said that he doesn't belong in the horror community, which means that you don't believe he deserves a following, ergo, he can't make money off the internet. It's actually a position that you doubled down on in this video, and if you were smart, you would realize that. What you said is that you don't believe certain people deserve social power, and that's something that you have already stated that you don't believe Wendigoon deserves. So you did try to ruin his life, you did try to cancel him, but instead what happened is you ruined your own life and now you're trying to save face. He then goes on to say that we caught him on a bad day, which is really funny because I guarantee you, even if he worked as fast as humanly possible, woke up at the ass crack of dawn and didn't go to sleep until midnight, he would not be able to pump out a 3.5 hour long video in one day. Promise you, it didn't happen.
My entire career, I have tried to approach everything with compassion and understanding and love. And you don't have to believe that, but I hope that my track record shows that. You saw me on a really bad day. And I have tried for the past 5 months to really reckon with that and actually confront that. You know, I didn't want to put out like an apology video 2 days afterwards because nobody learns things in 2 days. that's just reacting. It's not listening to what people say and acting. And there's a big difference there.
Again, I am of the persuasion that apology videos are typically useless because the mob will always hate you regardless. However, in this situation, there are individuals' names who he ran through the mud because he created this false boogeyman in his head that he felt the need to attack. He projected the worst possible intentions onto a bunch of individual, highly respected creators simply because they had moderately right-wing views. People who make money off the public's perception of them. This was a failed character assassination against people he chose not to like. That's all it was. The remainder of this video, he does apologize, but not to the people who he tried to screw over. Instead, he apologizes to his audience, which to me tells me he's not actually sorry about what he did wrong. He's sorry about how it affected his bottom line. I'm sorry you're mad at me, guys. Can you please keep watching my videos? I'd really like to make money off of YouTube again. That's how it comes across to me. I don't know. You can watch the rest and see if it comes across differently to you. But you can make the case he should apologize to the people of Appalachia. You can make the case he should apologize to right-wing minded people broadly. But to me, I don't think apologizing to a mob really matters. He should be apologizing to the individuals who he tried to run through the mud. And if he tries to apologize to anyone else, it really shouldn't matter, especially and until he apologizes to them first. That being said, that's all I have to say for this video. If you agree, don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to tell me what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.